This is my rough draft for my lesson plan examining narrative perspective through short story writing, and the activity would have students write one short story in first person and one short story in third person. And so before class even starts, for space management, I would have desks separated into groups of 4 so that they could work in small groups, as well as for visual identification, put up 2 short stories on the whiteboard with one in third person and one in first person. And with the first 5 minutes of class, encourage students to sit down with their small groups and read through the 2 stories on the board and discuss what the key differences are between the 2 stories. And for the introduction, introduce prior knowledge by explaining between first and third person differences again, as well as hooking students by asking their preference between whether they'd rather read a book that's written in first person or third person. And for pre-work for the activity for some paper management, make sure all students have a piece of notebook paper to jot down their brainstorm ideas for 15 minutes. And another material management would be have a timer on the board for 15 minutes so that they can reference back to see how much more time they have. And after this is done, more paper management, have a student hand out a worksheet with lined space for students to write on. And for the transition between the 2 different stories, I made kind of a rough draft of what it would look like. So for the first 15 minutes, they would write their first person short story, and then when the timer's off, be advised to flip over their paper so they're no longer distracted by the first story and start working on their second story for another 15 minutes. And for the lesson outro, it kind of focuses on reflection, just to set another timer, 5 minutes, have students reflect on their small group about the challenges and differences that they experienced with their 2 different perspectives, as well as handing out note cards for students to write just one sentence about their takeaways from the writing activity.